Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. It's your favorite place to be, story by Vera. So today we want to round up the story buried in her silence today. So you want to find out what really happened. What Why were these people haunting these children? These people, not just children, both adults. It was as if they were trafficking. Yeah. I hope you've enjoyed from part one to part two. Now is the end of the story. So you want to stick around and continue your watch while we tell the story. But before then, I would like to recognize my returning subscribers. Thank you, my amazing people, for always coming around to listen to my story, and hope you've been enjoying it all this while. And for the new ones on the channel, do want to subscribe, turn on your notification bell because we drop interesting, amazing, suspense-filled story in this channel every day. You wouldn't want to miss out. So let's get the story started. See you guys.
Buried in her silence, part 3, and the end. The girl in the photo haunted Adobe's dream. Wide eyes, a cracked wall, a torn teddy bear in the corner. She wasn't in Oludare's mansion, which meant this wasn't over. She wanted to hand it over to the police, but Mariam, she recognized something Adobe didn't. The wallpaper, that pattern, she whispered. I've seen it before, in my father's journal. Adobe's heart froze. You are saying there's another place? Mariam nodded. A hidden one, a second estate where the darkest secrets were kept. It had been buried in the floorboards of Chief Oludare's bedroom, bound in black leather with initials embossed in gold, OD. Inside, pages of rituals, ledgers, names, and a single chilling phrase repeated over and over. What is forgotten cannot testify. Miriam flipped into a section labeled The Vault. Coordinates, blueprints, a second house. Unknown to the media, off the grid, she leaned in, reading aloud. Children for the high table. Storage to remain undiscovered. Storage to remain undisclosed. Adobe felt sick. We have to go. She hesitated. We barely survived the first time. Mariam looked up, her eyes burning. She's still out there, just like I was. If we don't go, who will? They drove 6 hours east. No roads, just dead paths and fogs. Eventually they saw it, a rusted iron gate with a faded sign, Agbaje Memorial Orphanage. The place was abandoned, or so it seemed. They moved quickly, cameras ready. Inside, the walls were lined with broken crates, names scratched into concrete, tiny shoes under dust. Adobe's chest tightened. This was no orphanage. This was storage. Then a noise. Footsteps above. They froze. She reached for the camera, but Miriam signaled silence. They crept up the stairs, and what they found shattered them. She couldn't have been older than 11. Chained to a radiator, eyes swollen, skin bruised but alive. Barely. Miriam dropped to her knees. Hey, we are here. You are safe. The girl flinched. No, no more injections. Please. Adobe's voice cracked. We are not here to hurt you. We are going to get you out. She looked up slowly and whispered one word. Erelu. She blinked. What did she say? Miriam answered, her voice trembling. She didn't say Oludare. She said Erelu. Erelu Remy, former First Lady of Ogun State, Oludare's mentor, his spouse. She had vanished from the public eyes years ago, claiming illness, but she hadn't disappeared. She had gone underground and continued the oppression. Oludare was her friend, her puppet, and with him gone, she was picking up where he left off. Adobe stared at the girl. She's not just a victim, she's a witness. She nodded. We need proof she's behind this. Miriam stood. I think I know where to find it. Back at the mansion, there had been one room no one ever entered. The library. Oludare always kept it locked, not for books but for memories. Miriam remembered a hidden panel behind the old law books. They returned that night under the cover of darkness. Inside they found tapes, dozens, dates, times and names. One was labeled Remy Induction 2022. They played it. Erelu stood in ceremonial robe, hand on a child's head. Oludare knelt beside her. Cameras flashed. Laughter, let silence bind us, she said, and let no one escape. It was more than proof. It was the roots, the beginning, the source. Adobe didn't hesitate. She uploaded the footage live, this time not to her burner, but to every major news outlet in Nigeria's channels, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, WhatsApp. Within 30 minutes, the footage had gone viral. By morning, the hashtags were everywhere. Justice for the forgotten. Hashtag Mariam speaks. Hashtag end the vote. Hashtag Erelu exposed. The country erupted. But so did Erelu. They were ambushed that night. She had gone out to buy food. He never came back. Adobe found his phone at the foot of his stairs. Screen shattered, blood on the screen. Marion screamed. They were outnumbered, outplayed, but not unarmed. Adobe had backed up everything hidden in the girl's teddy bear. As they ran, gunshots echoed behind them. A voice rang out from the shadows. You should have stayed quiet. Mariam turned facing the gunmen and did the unthinkable. She screamed, a raw primal scream, enough to distance him, long enough for Adobe to pull the trigger. They lit the second estate on fire. That night, everything, the tapes, the cages, the memories, the girl, now identified as Chinaza, was taken into protection by a woman-led rescue team. Adobe and Mariam went into hiding. Erelu, arrested by Interpol 2 days later, caught trying to flee to Morocco with a fake passport, $6 million in cash. She did not just go quietly. Her final words to the press: you think this ends with me? You fools. There are others, bigger, smarter, louder. But her face went pale when she saw the girl in court. Chinaza pointed directly at her and said, loud and clear, that's the woman who hurt us. The courtroom went silent. For once, no one buried the silence. A documentary premiered on Netflix titled Buried in Her Silence, the true story of Mariam Oludare. Millions watched. Donations poured in for victims. New investigations began. Mariam, she moved to Abuja. Now a speaker, an advocate, an author. She wrote a book, The Day I Screamed. It hit bestseller list across Africa. Adobe stayed in journalism, but she no longer chased story. They came to her. One morning, Miriam returned to the mansion grounds. Everything had been demolished except the garden. She stood before the spot where the bones were buried. This time she didn't cry. She planted a rose bush and whispered, rest now. You are not forgotten anymore. She turned